What's happening, yo? I hope everybody can hear me okay. I don't know how this is gonna go because I have to drive. I don't know. Anyway, I'm just gonna be talking and doing what I need to do. But I've just been... Are they coming out or what? I don't know what these people are doing. I've just been reflecting a lot with my own personal situation. I've been looking at what I have been attracting. And honestly, I don't know if this is something that I kind of feel like it's unintentional, because I do understand that as we heal, let's take into account my spiritual journey. I know these people ain't trying to charge me. Let's take into account my spiritual journey. I feel like when it comes to females, a lot of females tend to wake up sooner than men. And this is no, diss or shot like that to men at all. But because females tend to be more in tune with their emotions, I feel like we do tend to wake up sooner than our male counterparts. And I hope you see me. Come on. I got a lot of ass back here now. So we tend to get into this whole thing of our spirituality. Damn, I really can't even go. I'm just gonna do it. I really can't go the same way, but I'm gonna do it. We tend to really get into our spirituality more. And as far as I know, like a lot of my friends that are females, we're doing our healing work, our inner child work, and we tend to be the ones to wake up the men in our lives. They tend to end up following, and a lot of times I feel what happens is we become out of balance or unaligned with our male counterpart if we're with somebody, because if we're going through our process and we're beginning our healing journey, then that makes us, in a sense, biblically, I guess you could say, unequally yoked. And one of the questions that I had posed to my friends before was, if all these women are going through their awakening process of healing, who are we supposed to be with if we're dealing with a bunch of unhealed men? Because it's not a lot of men that are on this same path that we're on. And so we're faced with, who can we date? Because we tend to recognize a lot of the unhealthy ways, unhealthy patterns that are in the male counterpart. Not to say that females are perfect, but as you heal, there's certain things that you just don't have tolerance for anymore, and you don't want to deal with, because you're trying to put yourself in a better place. But we also tend to keep attracting the same type of individuals that are unhealed. And that then goes into a deeper aspect of work that we then need to do for ourselves, which is looking at all of the looking at all of the unhealed trauma that has accumulated in our lives that stems from our childhood, looking at belief systems, looking at how we were raised, you know what I'm saying, picking up things from our parents, and looking at what it is that we were attracted to, or what we think we're attracted to, and really reevaluating all of that and going through it, because that's one of the things that kind of keeps us stuck in our ideals of what we think we can have, or just things that we believe, that we grow up believing. Like when I tell you, because there was so much religious spirituality around me coming up, I heavily grew up with this idea of not being anything unless I was with a man, and needing the right man, and having to have a family, and, you know, just being that ideal wife, and that my life was not going to be fulfilling or mean anything unless I had that. And I was on a desperate search and hunt for it. Like, if anybody is familiar with Sex and the City, it happens to be one of my favorite shows. But Charlotte on that show, that was her. I knew that there was like something. It's like all smoky, and I smell like there was a fire. Are they coming down this way? They going back the other way. But that's confirmation. Sirens just started to. I don't even know if y'all can see it in my rear view, but fire truck. But a lot of women tend to have this belief, or have grown up with this belief, that they are nothing unless they have a man, that their life will be unfulfilling unless they're in a relationship, they have a man, and have kids, and the whole family thing. And that is societal pressure that has been put on females that is not true for everyone. And if you don't share that same view, then you almost are being looked at or put down. You're kind of viewed as like an outcast. Like, when I gave up the idea of, I don't want to say love, but searching for the right one, that person, and I just started focusing on me, I feel like my life became so much better, because I decentered a man from my life. And I have been trying to go back to being the way that I was when I was like 17, 18, well, I'll say more like 19 and 20, where I felt like as long as I got my friends, I'm fine, I'm happy, I'm content. You know what I'm saying? I got me, and I don't need to be in a relationship. And I used to have so many people, like guys, coming at me like left and right, and then people just questioning, like, don't you want to have a boyfriend, and why? Like, first of all, even like right now, I don't want to be emotionally responsible for somebody else, especially if you don't know how to handle your own feelings in a mature way. And if you're not doing your own healing work yourself, because I'm not trying to trauma bond with you. I'm not trying to go backwards. And I'm not going to make a man the center of my life and then feel as though I need a man to be whole. Like, that's a lie from the pit of hell. When religiously they talk about your better half or your other half, or, I'm already whole within myself. I don't need another person to make me whole. I don't. Nobody does. But this is something that's been ingrained in us, especially females, from the time that we've been young. That we need to have that other individual there in order to be somebody. But it's like, it does kind of raise the question of when you are doing your own spiritual work on yourself and are really trying to make yourself better in every way, emotionally, spiritually, physically, and you still want to be out there, you still want to date, you still want to have companionship, but you're coming across the people that aren't. It's like, I feel like it just shows you where you still need to do more work on yourself and be patient. Be patient. And stop looking for a relationship to be the end-all be-all, and just enjoy your life. Do things that make you happy, and when you end up with somebody, don't stop doing the things that made you happy to begin with, because that's one of the things that ends up creating such a beautiful and bright aura around you, is the fact that you've just been in this beautiful space of, taking care of yourself, and that energy is what has attracted that person to you. So don't change it. And a lot of people, once they get in a relationship, they stop doing all the things that they were doing before, and then if that relationship falls apart, now they feel lost and they don't know what to do, and then they have to so-called get back to their self, you know what I mean, with doing the things that they once loved before. But it takes a while to get there, and no person, like, I for one do not want to be the thing that makes a person happy. You need to be happy already before you come and try to spend time with my ass. I may not be happy about my circumstances, because circumstances change just like your feelings can change. They're temporal. But you have to have a certain type of contentness inside of you to know that no matter what happens, where you are, who you are, that you are just good with yourself. You just got to be good with yourself. Nobody can make you happy. You can add to my happiness, but you can't make me happy. And I don't want to be anybody's peace. Nigga, you better be your own peace, because I don't need that kind of pressure. I really don't. But it's one of the things that I was thinking about, just in terms of going through my process of dealing with my home situation, and why this has been stirred up, and why I've been feeling so stirred up inside and triggered by a lot of stuff. I got, thanks to my sister, I got this astrological reading done that helps you out in terms of what are some of the, and it deals with like the ley lines in the world, that kind of shows you like how you can use your birth chart to benefit you the most. And this is kind of like what I've been trying to get into, where it shows you some of the best places to live when it comes to your happiness, being in a relationship, dealing with family, your career, just finding independence and happiness, spiritually, the places that'd be best for you to live, health-wise, places that would be best for you to live. And some of the things that it said for me, are things that I've already kind of known inside and have been drawn to. So like you guys know, I was talking about, you know, and I'm still doing it, trying to learn, getting back into doing French. I'm about to go into town. And because I've been thinking about going to Italy, possibly, you know, maybe even moving to Italy. And in the reading, it said that one of the places that would be best for me to move is Italy and Paris. And then another place that it said was Kyoto. There was a few places that it said would be bad for me, where there's like a lot of karma that would not benefit me, with places like Moscow, Scandinavia. You ain't got to worry about me. A sister ain't trying to be nowhere over there, okay? And it gives like this whole list, and then it also talks about like in the state, places that would be best for you. So right now, where I am is Baltimore, and I'm trying to go to Virginia because I want to be near the water. Now I have a girlfriend that is there, and she is not too far from the water. And I just long to be back in a place where I can go to the water, see the water. I manifest best with water. Even when it comes to what's in my birth chart, I tend to, when it comes to your birth chart, it's best to actually use the elements in your birth chart that you have the most of to help you when it comes to manifesting. So I have water in my chart the most. The next thing that I have in my chart the most is fire. So that means that I need to use water a lot. Sorry for the darkness. I need to use water a lot in order to manifest, and I need to use fire. So that's like being out in the sun a lot. That's going to be the most favorable way for me to have my manifestations come to fruition. And so this is one of those things that, you know, when you're trying to change things for yourself and utilize the map that you've already been given for yourself, how it can actually help you in getting in tune with it. The reading that the lady did was like really, really good. She breaks down so much. Maybe I'll try to leave her information because she's on Etsy and she's having a sale with it right now. It was only like, I think, it takes about 3 days for your reading to come to you in an email, but it was only about, I think, was it like $11? I think it was like $11, something like that. But I'm really trying to figure things out and do some things different for myself. So, looking at my birth chart, the reading that I got, and seeing what I'm dealing with right now, because I'm in an area where she said that I am in a place that is creating me to be in this karmic loop. Saturn is, let me see, Saturn and what other planet did she say is very present in my chart, like right now, like what I'm going through. She said it's no accident. It's because there's still things that I'm needing to learn the lesson of, and will continue to learn, or will continue to go through until I learn the lesson, and that cycle ends up getting broke. So one of the things that is holding me back, because I had asked about what is blocking me, and that was one of the things, like being over caregiver, staying with people, which I'm staying with someone, but just being drawn back into a lot of childhood karma, and I have to do something to break free from that. So this is why I'm trying to move. But I'm like, why does this keep on happening to me? And he is tied to me karmically, because it also talked about being in a cycle of things that I'm tied to emotionally from the past, and he is one of those things. Now, one of the ties that I had got broken, which I told y'all about, my ex-boyfriend. I'm no longer in communication with him at all. So whatever needed to be learned with that lesson, which I already was feeling inside was going to be broken anyway, is done. And it's so crazy because when I looked up his chart numerically, we have so much of the same things. We have the same year number, the same life path number, the same day number. We have a whole lot of some of the same numbers that literally are the same numbers. Like, oh my gosh. So it's no wonder why we were drawn, or why I was drawn to him. But yeah, why we were drawn to each other, but mainly why I was drawn to him. And I knew that relationship was going to end because I'm in my year 9 the same way that he is. So I'm pretty sure that spiritually and emotionally he felt that things were going to end up ending, but just didn't know when or how. But it did. So when I look at now this ex that I'm staying with, it's also an emotional tie that needs to be cut. And I'm already feeling like at the end of this, because one, he's not a spiritual person. He's not a communicator, and he is not the best when it comes to dealing with emotions. This is a situation that I feel is also going to be ended once I end up leaving, but I have to do the work, and I need to move away from this area because it said that it's too close to where I was born in New York. And the energy, like with Saturn is all about lessons, and because I'm in this cycle, this loop, I can have things because it's all about, getting those rewards, but it's a lot of delayed gratification. So the things that I'm looking for are not going to happen as quickly as I would like for them to happen. For me, being in Virginia, what I seen in that report that I got back, I'm going to actually be able to flourish the way that I know that I can, and the way that I desire to flourish inside. But it's just a matter of me taking a step and doing what I feel is going to be really challenging for me to do, because I don't want to do it. And that's being on my own again, not living with anybody, not living under anyone's dictation, and possibly until things work out with me being in my own apartment, maybe being in the shelter, or being back and forth from my car to a hotel the way that I was in the very beginning of my homeless journey. I don't know. It's not really something that I want to do, but inside I almost feel like even with the discomfort, it will bring me the most peace. And this is part of me still learning how to do the things that I need to do for myself spiritually on my spiritual journey. And I think that a lot of females, as they go through these things, they find some discomfort in parts of their lives that are challenging to face. But once you start to go through it and you're just in it, you learn how to navigate through it all, and it just becomes easier. Well, I won't say it becomes easier, but it almost becomes more like second nature, because you know that what you're doing is for a higher purpose for yourself. And I'm all about trying to put myself in a better place so that I can be with someone who is healed. And that's one of the biggest things that I was saying, as far as me even just giving my body to somebody. I don't want to go back into being with someone who is unhealed, because spiritually, unless you're doing something to protect your energy, you end up taking on a lot of the energy of that person. And I know for myself, because Saturn rules my life path number, my karma hits me like that. I'm gonna tell you how. I know. I started to see someone when I was in Florida, and I loved his body. I ain't gonna lie. He had the nicest ass. Ooh, I used to just love to palm that shit when we would be. And I wasn't really expecting anything to pop off between the two of us, but something did. And we did it the one time. And let me just preface this by saying, this person has, I don't know if they still have this Jeep, but their whole front part of their Jeep is gone. Like the grill is just gone. You can see the engine. Okay, everything. Car's busted. How about after we were together, and this is how, like I said, you start to take on the energy of the person that you end up being with. You open yourself up to them when you have sex. I didn't do any protective work, and I wasn't even thinking like this. The next week, the very next week, it took 1 week, I ended up getting into an accident, and my whole front grill was done, like off my car. And you know what I'm going to try to do? I'm going to try to put a picture in here if I can, or maybe I'll make the thumbnail. I'm trying to make sure I'm going the right way. I'll make the thumbnail the picture of what my car looked like, so y'all can see just how bad my shit was looking. And when I tell you his was looking just as bad, it was fucked up. And so when you know spiritually, you have to be aware of things like that because of where you are. Like, I'm very conscious more so now, and I'm trying to be more aware, but I understand how things work spiritually, where other people may have just looked at that as a coincidence. No, I picked up on this person's energy, and his energy became a part of mine, because what happened to him happened to me. I did not protect my energy. And so, especially for me, like I said, my karma tends to come probably a lot faster than most people. But if you are life path number 8, you may notice that this is the kind of thing that happens to you a lot. You tend to get your karma back a lot faster than most people would. And just be kind of like wondering why. That's what it is. Saturn is fucking working in your life. And what Saturn was showing me is that I can't just open myself up sexually to anybody. And so when it comes to the person that I'm staying with and the way that he's been so aggressive sexually towards me and me pushing him off, there were incidents that actually happened, and things that ended up taking place because, again, I didn't want to be intimate with this individual, but his will was kind of forced upon me, and started triggering me all over again with my whole history of being SA. But I started to notice different things that, again were then starting to happen that in my life that had happened in his. So, you know, it's just a whole thing. But as long as you're on your journey, I'm going to stop because this video is getting long. As long as you're on your journey, you have to be aware. And I think that as a female, we really are just hoping that as we are awakening and going through our healing process, that we would like the men to really start to go through their process as well and do their due diligence to do things. You know, if you are with someone, maybe you will start to feel like you just don't resonate with that person anymore because you're falling out of alignment. You're starting to do your work. You're starting to, you know, feel differently, see things differently, recognize things in a different way. You're not attracted to the same things. And when it comes to your attraction, it actually puts you, the further you get in your spiritual journey, the more it starts to get you out of this mindset of feeling so anxious or desperate or needy for a relationship if it's not completely aligned with you and who you are. You feel like, oh, I can wait. And that's exactly how I feel. I'm not trying to play these games of just be with somebody just to be with someone, because I think too a lot of women just kind of feel like, oh, you know, there's just so much potential in this person. And I see, well, you know what, my ex, I've seen a lot of potential in him for years, for the whole 6-7 years that I dealt with that nigga, and he never lived up to it, not once. So I'm not trying to go on potential anymore. And sometimes we want to do that and be with somebody because we see potential in them, but we also see that they're not trying to do anything to live up to that potential. So you need to start believing what you see in terms of their actions, of what they're actually doing, and not what they could be doing. It'll save you some time. But I'm not trying to waste any more of my time, because all you're going to do is find that you then begin to justify certain behavior and then possibly sometimes overcompensate for their shortcomings. And again, we ain't got time for that. We ain't got time for that. I'm sorry, but I'm trying to live in a position where I am happy and whole. And if you are not about the same thing, then you know what, bruh, move from me. So anyway, I hope this shit don't get flagged, simply because I'm driving and they be having issues with stuff like this, but I'm gonna post it anyway. So y'all give me some feedback and let me know, like, especially y'all females, y'all feel like you know, hitting the nail on the head with this in terms of y'all trying to do your thing, but it's just feeling like the men are way more slim picking than what they were even before, as you become more awakened or spiritually inclined, that, you know, you just aren't able to really resonate with a lot of the guys that are out here. I'm sorry, but I need to get over. You're just not able to resonate with a lot of the guys that are out here simply because they're not in this way of being awakened, and you really are just in a different place. So what you may have chose to overlook or found attractive in the past is just not something that you can do anymore. Alright, I gotta go. Somebody's hitting me up. Be well.